big sad today. Catherine O'Hara passed away. And, like, call me dramatic, I cried at work. Like, you know, one of your favorite actors, it's like, it freaks me out, because she was only 71. She was so young. And it always scares the crap out of me every time I see one of those posts, you know, because, like, everyone I love is older. And, you know, I get told, oh, they'll be fine, they'll be fine. She was freaking 71. Like, anything can happen to anybody at any time. And, I don't know, it's just really upsetting. And what's even more upsetting is there's a store I go to that, like, sells Funko Pops and stuff, and they had a signed Catherine O'Hara pop, and I'm pretty sure they took it down, and now they're gonna wait to up the price. And it's like, are you serious? Like, we're gonna mark it off with this woman's death. Like, I get it, but, like, come on now. That's kind of fucked up. Come on. On a slightly lighter note, I updated my shrine. It has to be moved around. But I was like, you know what? I have so many Funko Pops, but, like, let's go through all of my favorite ones. So I'm going to show you guys because there are so many Pops. I had so many Grails that I had to end up selling. Like, I even had Headless Ned Stark, but I had to sell it for my cat. I needed the money. I had so many Grails, and now I had to, like, I sold so many for the cat, and then now I have, you know, my absolute favorite ones. So it's probably going to be, like, in parts. I have so many music pops. I have, like, Wizard of Oz and things like that. I have Outlander. I have all of Gravity Falls. I have a pretty good amount of even decent pops now. But I'm like, you know what? Let me show off my absolute favorite ones, which are the ones that are, like, all of my vintage guys. So, like, you know, all of my John Candy ones, Bill Murray, Danny Aykroyd. So, like, all of them. And I was literally gonna buy the Moira pop from Schitt's Creek, and now people are gonna be assholes and up the price. It's like, come on now. Before I get to the chaos, I moved some things around, so I managed to fit my Blues Brothers film cells up there. So it kind of just, this is what this looks like right now. It's constantly changing. Also random, Spunky loves his plankton. You love him? Yeah, you love him. Yeah, whack. Whack, 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 whack. Yeah. Alright, this is what my mess looks like currently. Guess we'll have to go through it. I did have to move because I made room for the film cells. So I put Primat down here. But that's okay. Hey, Pokey. I guess we'll just go through my husband first. So, these are all of my Dan Aykroyd pops. Hopefully they'll come out with more. They totally can. Like, really upset that SNL 50th anniversary missed out on making Coneheads, because how the hell do you not make a Coneheads pop or Blues Brothers 2-pack? Anyway, so we have Louis Winthorpe, and I think my favorite out of these three is this one. I do have these two out of box as well, because I like to put pops in my car as well. So let me see. This is the both of them out of box. I like the detail in the hair. It's pretty great. And the frickin' fish that he ate through his beard. And I'm so mad because I totally forgot to put this one in my car around Christmas. I don't know how. It's the whole point of me buying another one. So hopefully next Christmas I remember to do that. Moving on to Ghostbusters. So it's kind of crazy the difference in these two. They're technically the same pop. This one's obviously the new one and more realistic. Like, if you didn't tell me that this was Ray, if I hadn't seen the goggles or the patch, like, I wouldn't have known this was Ray, because they all used to look the same. But, like, with this, you can definitely tell it's Aykroyd, for sure, especially with the Ghostbusters 2, which is, I prefer Ghostbusters 2 over the first one. So this was I screamed when they made this one. And the detail is pretty crazy. I wanted to buy another one, take the head off of this, and then make a Great Outdoors pop. And they totally could have done it pops for the Great Outdoors as well. I mean, they made pops for Cocaine Bear. They totally could have made the bear from that movie. So maybe that'll be like a custom project of mine one day. And out of all of these two are my favorites. I bought so many of this one. I just love Dan and like him older. Like, I'm weird, but I love him when he's older. And I don't know. I keep this one in my car a lot. I just love Dan as a normal guy. I just love who he is. So to me, this isn't even like a Ray pop. This is just Dan Aykroyd. Next, we have John Belushi. I definitely prefer the Toga Party one. It would have been funny if they had this one of him, drinking the alcohol, the Jack Daniels, that was iced tea for the movie. But obviously, like, that's why I'm confused. Like, they made these, but they couldn't make Blues Brothers. Now, I don't know if it was just, like, a rights thing, but they already had permission to make John Belushi pops, so I don't see why they couldn't do the Blues Brothers. I would also love pops of them in their movie Neighbors, him in Continental Divide, and I would love a pop of, him in 1941. That was a good one too. They could have had him in the plane and everything. So missed opportunities with Belushi. Hopefully before Funko dies, they can come up with better ideas to save their company. Because it seems like every time that they come out with new pops, I always think of ways that they could have made it better. And it doesn't really feel like fans made it. It's just kind of like cash grabs. It's always a cash grab. But I always can come up with better ways. They definitely should have had Belushi SNL pops with him as, like, the samurai, things like that. Yeah, I wish they made more than just 2 of John Belushi. So I never actually really looked into how many pops they made of Steve Martin and Martin Short. As far as I know, these are the only ones, but correct me if I'm wrong. So when I first watched Only Murders in the Building, I fell in love, needed the pops. Kind of upset that they didn't make Selena Gomez's character. I resonate with Mabel a lot. I had this one in my car for a while. I love Charles. And yeah, they definitely could have made more pops for this series. Hopefully there is more in the future. I did not realize that the window kind of connects, so that's cool. Oh, who agrees that they should have made a pop of Lester the robot? Okay? That would have been hilarious. And not only that, but they definitely could have made a pencil sharpener of Lester, and you can keep him on your desk. There are so many things they could do with, like, merch-wise for these shows, and they need to hire me! Bro, I am so stupid. I just said I didn't know if they made other Steve Martin pops, and they did, but I forgot because it's in a 2-pack. So here's Steve Martin, and then here's my John Candy pops. My favorite one is definitely Del Griffith, and I'm a big fan of the Cool Runnings one. It makes me kind of sad because John Candy did not like performing this scene in Stripes, so it kind of sucks that this is the pop they made, although I understand because it's the most iconic scene of his in that movie, but John was very uncomfortable on set filming this, so it makes me sad that they made a figure of that. And I like Uncle Buck. It's not my favorite movie. It's a really good movie. It's just not, like, on my top lists of John Candy movies. Definitely this one and The Great Outdoors are my top 2, and then, like, everything else after that. But yeah, it's so fucking cute, and his little mustache. He's so happy. Look at him. And it's just like they got the Steve Martin eyebrows and everything. It's so iconic. It looks just like them. This is what I mean. Like, Funko really mastered their, like, facial expressions too late in the game. If they had done these before the original designs, they'd be way more rich than they are now, even though now they're on the verge of bankruptcy. It's really a shame what happened. I have more pops of Bill Murray and Harold Ramis. I just felt like I had to just lump the Stripes one together and just get it over with like that. So, I mean, I had a massive crush on Harold Ramis and Stripes. He was so cute in that movie. And then, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, Bill Murray's character was kind of pissing me off. But that's just kind of the vibe of the character. But the movie is great. I love it. really funny. I like the detail in the pops, especially this one. It's like, look at that. I can't even see it. Oh my god, what is happening with my camera? Yep, there we go. Nick the Lounge Singer is currently my only SNL Funko Pop at the moment. I did have the Lunch Lady with Chris Farley. I ended up selling that one. I kind of wish I didn't. I'll just get it back eventually. But I definitely think they should have made a 2-pack of Bill and Gilda Radner with them as the nerds. And again, they should have made Blues Brothers and Coneheads. There's plenty of other sketches they should have made that they kind of dropped the ball on. But I guess it's hard after, 50 years. It's hard to come up with which ones you're picking, which ones they haven't done already. I just felt like Nick the Lounge Singer was kind of, I guess, a random choice. Definitely should have picked a pop of one of the original Not Ready for Primetime. Like, he is a Not Ready for Primetime member, but he didn't come on until season 2. So, like, they should have just stuck with, like, another John Belushi pop, a Jane Curtin pop, Gilda, any of them. I mean, I know they already have a Gilda pop, but there's more that they definitely could have done. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this one. I mean, I had to buy it. It's Bill. This is currently the rest of my Ghostbusters pops that aren't Dan. So I have the 2 Peter Venkman pops at the top. I only have Spengler as a spirit. Gruberson. Paul Rudd is so cute. And then I had to get Phoebe. She's a badass little Spengler. Like, honestly, Phoebe is really my only favorite new member other than Paul Rudd. Like, one of the kids. Like, honestly, Phoebe's the only one that doesn't annoy me. But yeah, these are pretty fun. I should have stuck like a flashlight and see like how the plastic looks when it glows. I wish it was a glow pop. That would have been sick. And it's kind of disappointing that these 2 are literally the same pop, except one has the fucking slime on them. But like, I don't know why they should have made pink slime released pops too for the second movie, and they didn't do that. Another way they dropped the ball. And like, not for nothing, the Vigo pop for Ghostbusters 2, they should have made it, like, you know how they have the Funko Pops with like the comic book background or the album backgrounds? They should have done the actual painting behind Vigo, and they didn't. Like, you could have made a bigger pop and made more money off of it if you had him standing in front of the painting, and people would actually hang that up. So again, Funko is lazy as shit. And unless they just didn't have the budget because they're going bankrupt, I don't know. But don't make the pops if you don't have the budget. At least go all the way, Behold, the only Caddyshack pop I have. I really wanted, they had a set that was actually a flocked version of the Gopher that came out with the hat that they wore. But I never bought that yet. There's a chase of Ty Webb. I want all of them. And especially because of Bill Murray, I'm going to need this one. And then with Bill Murray, I also need What About Bob and Groundhog Day. There's so many Bill Murray pops that I need. But these are pretty cute. Look at Rodney and his freaking little face. It's so cute. Yeah. I'm going to get them all eventually. But we're poor right now. So we're just going to have to deal with the only Chevy Chase pop that I have. Which is kind of crazy to me because I thought I would have bought the Lampoon ones by now. I need Clark in the car with the tree. I definitely need that. I need Cousin Eddie. Those are hilarious. But it'll be like an eventually kind of thing. Again, we're poor. These are probably some of my most favorite pops. I love David Spade so much. I love Chris Farley. Richard is adorable. So yeah, I originally actually had this one and then the tiny coat one, and I had to wait a while before I actually found the normal one. So I just think it's funny that I found the exclusive before I found the normal one, but now we have the whole set, so that's cool. And honestly, I know I'm just a hoe for Dan Aykroyd, but they really could have done him in the freaking commercial with the spiked up hair and the really bad tan. It would have been so funny. Oh well. Before Dan Aykroyd, I was in love with Bob Odenkirk for years. And it was really hard to find this one. I have loose versions of both pops. I had almost the whole Breaking Bad collection. I just didn't have the crazy exclusives that were worth like over $1,000. I did end up getting the blue Heisenberg. I had Jesse with the RV, crystal ship, whatever. I had literally almost all of them except like the very exclusive Jesse and Walter with the glow in the dark ones. So I had almost every pop. But then I had to sell them. I had to keep Bob Odenkirk because I was so in love with him for so long, and I'm like, I'm gonna regret it. Jake originally tried to buy me this one, and it ended up being a fake. And then I ended up finding this one later on. So it was a struggle to get this one. I will never... That's why I had to put it in the really nice protector. Just because this one is so hard to find for some reason. But yeah, they're so funny. They're so cute. And then here I have the loose ones. I have this one here. This one here. This is a bobblehead. And of course I have U2s. I didn't realize that I'm actually missing the Cinnamon Bun Jean U2s. So I'm going to need that eventually. Not in a rush though, just because I'm not really huge into Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul at the moment, but I know I'm always gonna go back into it. It has a special place in my heart. So like, pretty random. I used to be really huge into The Walking Dead too, so I had a huge crush on Father Gabriel and Michael Rooker, who was Merle. Merle wasn't the greatest character, but I just was really in love with Michael Rooker. And I had a hard time, like, you will have a hard time looking for this pop. I could not find it, and I didn't even want it signed because I'm a firm believer in I only get autographs if I met them, and I never met Michael Rooker, but the only way I found this pop was signed. It wasn't crazy money, but I guess for most people it would be. I just couldn't pass up finding it. And then, obviously, Michael Rooker was Yondu and Savant in Suicide Squad. I am realizing how psycho I am with how many phases I went through. But for a long time, Mark Sheppard, who played Crowley, was, like, my obsession. That was probably when I was 14. I was, like, really in love with Crowley on Supernatural. I liked Castiel, too, but once Crowley hit the screen, I fell in love instantly. He was just so funny and like relatable. He called out the bullshit. I just loved that about him. And I love that they finally made this before Funko goes out, because having Crowley on the throne, like, I've been considering buying it just so I can take another one out of box, but I just stick with the one. And then obviously Castiel Steve was very cute as well. I have the last of my Game of Thrones pops that I didn't sell, just because I didn't want to get rid of my absolute favorite ones. But these are actually my top 4 characters. So my number 1 favorite character is Davos, then I love the Hound, Jorah, and then Tyrion. Those are like my guys. And then I have some other cool ones in there too. I have Rhaenyra and Aegon on their dragons. I have this really cool version of the Night King from the season 7 poster, if it will focus. There we go. I used to have literally every single Game of Thrones pop, and then I had to sell them, but at least we still have our faves. That's all that matters, right? These are also my thrift finds from yesterday. Someone had like almost every SNL best of, but except they didn't have the freaking Steve Martin one, and that's one on my list, and I need the best of Steve Martin. But these are like the top tier. Obviously, I already have the Dan Aykroyd one, and then I don't know why, but like Jake is always the first to find stuff for me. He saw this, he grabbed it, and he showed me, and I screamed, and I ran over to him like an embarrassing child. But I got so excited, and honestly, I was looking at this yesterday, and I'm like, they don't have fun with covers anymore. Like, you could have so much fun designing a VHS box, and even more so than a DVD, just because, like, the sides and the top and everything. I kind of just miss how this used to be, you know? Now everything's digital, and it sucks. But this is iconic. So I did have this pre-recorded, but I just decided to delete it because the quality was so bad because I had the case over my phone. But, so, interesting enough, this bear was on my wish list for a long time. Someone was trying to sell it online with the Proton Pack for, like, $50. And I was like, okay, well, I can't afford that right now. So it's just going to stay in my wish list until I find it. And I found it at the thrift store for under $5. It was like 4 something. So I saved myself basically $45 by just waiting it out. And sometimes like good things just come to you. I did post it in a fan group. And someone was like, "Oh, I found one too. Did you get the boots?" No, I didn't get the frickin' boots. But you know what? I don't need the boots because I could just show off the feet. Yo, not for nothing, but the Aykroyd VHS collection is pretty solid. I mean, Caddyshack 2 is what it is, but otherwise the rest are pretty amazing, really. Yo, especially sneakers. No one talks about sneakers enough, but that movie is top tier and like a cult classic.